Welcome everyone to Overwatch for Dummies. Today, we're going to be chatting about the newest addition in the Overwatch Hero pool. It's going to be all things about MOIRA. So MOIRA is a new support that has come to the game recently with her evil right hand dealing damage, draining health, and refilling her biotic reservoir, and her left hand dealing or healing all of the HP for her own team. But let's go through all of Moira's bits and pieces before we get too far into this video. First of all, this chick starts out with 200 HP. No armor, her damage deals 50 damage per second, her healing does 80 healing per second, and each of them have a range of 15 meters, which in fact is quite a decent amount of range. She doesn't use ammo, rather her damage hand has an infinite amount of ammo, and her healing hand takes 45 seconds to refill once the reservoir has completely diminished without using the left hand or the right hand to refill it. In order to do decently with Moira, balancing these two hands is a really good way to make sure you always have some healing capability for this hero. But let's move on to each of her abilities. Starting off, we have Biotic Grasp. We're going to chat about the attack side of this one first. So by using this particular ability, you are actually refilling that of the healing Biotic Grasp. But being able to balance the healing and the damage side of Moira is super important if you want to do well with this hero. There is a 20-meter range on the damage side of this attack. It compares to the Tesla cannon, sort of. It's a bit lower damage to that of Winston's Tesla cannon. If you redirect your reticle, it will disconnect after a short period of time. And the biggest advice I can give is don't focus one hero in particular when attacking. Actually, just kind of tickle the enemy team. That way you're doing a bit of damage. Since she doesn't do massive amounts of damage, just tickling around and making sure the team is always and never at full health is a really good way to make sure you're doing the most with Moira's damage hand. But let's move on to Moira's more dominant side. This is her healing. So this is able to spray multiple allies at a single time. It consumes an energy reservoir, which is, as I said earlier, refilled by the damage hand. By healing using this ability, it leaves an overcharge effect on the target you've healed, continuing healing 50 HP over 3 seconds. None of Moira's abilities are blocked by shields, and D.Va's Matrix does not consume this. So using each of these hands in tandem to each other and a balance of both really forces the player to play Moira well, and making sure that her reservoir is always full, making sure you can do what she is actually meant to be doing, which is healing your allied team. But let's move on to her Biotic Orb. So this is an AoE bouncing ball that does damage and heals or heals your allies. For the damage side, it does 50 damage per second. For the healing, it does 75 healing per second. The tether range is that of 5 meters, and it is on a 10-second cooldown with a 10-second duration, or it runs out when you have done 200 damage or 300 healing. The tips for this particular and extremely powerful ability is that this ability goes directly through all shields. Reinhardt can't stop it, Orisa can't stop it, Winston with his bubble cannot stop it. However, D.Va's Matrix will. The best place to use a particular ability is in narrow hallways, where you can bounce this ball off every single wall within a hallway. So it's kind of like a Junkrat spam, where all you have to do is spam this down one choke point and it just bounces around for a while, dealing quite a significant amount of damage. And if you're dealing damage, you're also refilling that reservoir. But if your team is going in for a team fight, slap this down with the healing side of its ability and completely heal up your entire team while this ball bounces around that choke point. If you are fighting against a lot of tanks, if you are fighting against a lot of high HP heroes on the enemy side, do not go for the damage side of this ability, because you're going to be doing lesser amounts of work rather than just healing and keeping your team alive. Don't forget, with Moira, you are a support, a healer before you're a DPS. You do less damage than a Tesla cannon. Winston's Tesla cannon is known to tickle the opponent, and it does more than your left hand. So keep that in mind. One thing to keep note about with and when using the Biotic Orb is that Genji can reflect this back at your team and deal a lot of damage by doing so. So keep that in mind when going up against a Genji. Heroes that do counter this Biotic Orb are going to be a Genji Reflex. The D.Va does Matrix it up, and Reaper in Wraith form can just straight up avoid this ability. But next we do have Fade. So Fade allows Moira to teleport a short distance, giving invincibility, visibility, and increased movement speed. So this particular ability just does a whole heap in a short amount of time. Her movement increases by 18.75 meters per second, meaning this girl can smash around this battlefield extremely quickly. It does have a 10-meter range, a 6-second cooldown, and it does last less than a second at 0.8 seconds, but you do travel a significant distance over that short period of time. Tips when using Fade. Use it to sneak up and kill weaker enemy heroes while dodging all fire heading towards you. So if there's a Genji trying to get back, trying to fall back onto, supports or anything like that, just move forward and just get the Genji, because you go completely invisible, team doesn't know where you've gone, and you can just end low HP heroes extremely quickly. You're able to escape fights extremely easily with this ability, use it to reach allies in trouble, and use it in tandem with Biotic Orb, Fade, as well as Grasp Healing to just do mass amounts of healing for those who are in trouble. And Moira's biggest ability, which is what we're going to be chatting about next, is going to be Coalescence. So this is Goku's Kamehameha essentially that does both damage and healing at the same time in a splash AoE effect. It's an incredibly powerful ultimate. So the movement increases Moira's movement by plus 9 meters per second. Its range is 30 meters, it does 70 damage per second, 140 healing per second, and 50 healing per second to herself. And the duration is 8 seconds in total. So this is for large team fights. If your team is fighting within a small area, you can throw Coalescence in from the back and heal up your entire team literally at the same time. It bypasses all shields, and you can use it to initiate pushes when you use in tandem with May Blizzards. You can use it with Earth Shatters, Gravitons, heal through those abilities. Using it in response to other ultimates like a Genji ult or anything like that. Just Genji ultimates and you see where he's going, throw Coalescence down and keep whoever he's attacking alive by just splashing it. Due to this though, Reinhardt, Winston, and Orisa shields do not do anything against your Coalescence, so you can go straight through and attack enemies in its entirety with using this ability. And the best way to use Coalescence also is if you are playing with another Zenyatta. If he drops down Transcendence, you use Coalescence, you literally are invincible during this period of time because you get healed from both your ability and Zenyatta's Transcendence at the same time. One last little tip when using Coalescence: if there is a Torb or Bastion turret set up anywhere on the map, use this ability with its 30-meter range to just delete them instantly. You're able to get rid of both of these quite efficiently actually. But also don't forget that you cannot cancel this ability once it is active, and do focus on healing your allies, not dishing out damage on the opponents. Do not forget, Moira is a support hero. Little combos for this ability are the Genji Blade combo with tandem with the Zenyatta ult, as I said earlier, and to keep Reapers alive whilst using Death Blossom. Which brings us to the next little bit of this video, is all-round tips when using Moira. Be aggressive and stay close to the team. By staying close to your tanks, you're able to do two things: both heal them up as well as use your grasp to dish damage out to the opponent who are starting to get a little bit close to your team. You can dive with DPS heroes, both keeping them alive as well as dishing out extra damage when diving through whilst using your Fade ability. Manage your reserves. This comes with a lot of practice. Make sure you're using both your healing hand as well as your damage hand in tandem so you get the most out of Moira's kit. By attacking low HP heroes, you are actually doing a lot more, because Moira, especially against the squishy characters, does do enough damage to kind of just pick people off, as well as in tandem with a Discord Orb. Geez, Moira is going to be doing a lot of work for you. And lastly, using your Fade as bait. Dive behind enemy lines, keep moving around, stay in line of sight, fade out, and then combo this with a Coalescence and to initiate a fight right there and then. Moving on to what Moira does counter. Moira counters pretty much anyone with a shield, so your Reinhardts as well as your Orisas don't do a whole lot against Moira and her orbs, because the shields do get bypassed. Also, a Tracer is a really good Moira counter, as her short range playstyle allows her to get really close, but then when you combo her short range with the fact that you can throw out a Biotic Orb as well as do a Biotic Grasp ability, you can completely shut down Tracers and then fade out of the way all at the same time. Tracer's going to have a hard time against you. However, Moira is countered by Pharahs, Hanzos, and Widows, all due to the fact that they can completely outrange Moira. as well as Diva, that she can just absorb a lot of your ability. So just take that in mind when playing Moira. But I hope this little tutorial helped all of you out. If you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, leave them in the comment section down below, and don't forget to sub to the channel. It does help out a ton, and we'll see you very, very shortly. Bye bye.